All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To the Show We Go Baseball Podcast. We're dipping into the Mariners system today. I have pitcher Ashton Izzi on the program today. If you weren't too familiar with Ashton, he was a 2022 draft pick by Mariners. He spent this last year in Modesto, actually, where I do have a few questions to kind of get us started off, talking about the boring baseball stuff before we get into the off-field things. But I wanted to just kind of ask you. I know you're home for I guess a little bit before going to the complex, but how has your off season been treating you? What kind of things have you been up to?
It's been good. I got to spend a little bit of time back home in Illinois. I spent 2 weeks or 3 weeks there after I finished up the lifting camp with the Mariners, and then I spent the last month here, and pretty much just been lifting in my garage. I throw in my backyard with my parents, and then get to be out in Florida, go visit the beach every couple days. Got a pool in the backyard, so can't complain.
Mm. A little warmer this time of year than back home in Chicago.
Yeah.
I was just there for a wedding a couple weeks ago, and there was snow on the ground. So I don't know. Do you miss that part?
No, I got 1 day of snow when I was back there, and I do not miss it at all.
That's fair. I definitely would not either, especially being down in Florida, even though I guess this time of the year is not too bad, but I know summer in Florida is not too great. But
Mhm.
okay, so I do want to talk about your 2024 a little bit. I call it your first full year in pro ball with, you being a little limited in 23 and only pitching in 9 games. But going through the first year here for you in 2024 of your professional career, how was it like? Like, what kind of takeaways do you have from this past year?
I think it was a great learning experience coming from the year before where I was kind of just dipping my feet in, and then this year going through like pitching every 6 days, going and traveling, spending a whole week away from home in Modesto. So it was definitely a big learning experience, learning like what my body can handle, what my body needs to stay up and perform at the highest level that I could. And I think that it was great to like kind of teach me and kind of have like the older guys who've been there and a couple younger guys who are in the same kind of boat as me to like teach me what they did to help them and all that stuff. And I think it was a great learning experience overall to just figure out what minor league baseball is like.
How long did that take you to get adjusted to what minor league baseball is like? Like you said, you have six game weeks where it's like you got six straight games and then the off days on Mondays. But how long did that take you to really get in that groove?
I'd say it took about like a month, maybe 2 months. Like our first away trip was Stockton, so we were pretty close to home there, about like 20, 30 minutes. When we had our first like away trip where we were staying in a hotel, that's when like it kind of you understood what away trips are like. I messed up that week and we were in San Jose and I decided to spend a little bit too much time in the sun and my body didn't feel the
Oof.
greatest. So it's a learning experience. I learned gotta take care of my body on the day I'm pitching and make sure I'm not getting exhausted out in the sun or doing stuff I shouldn't when I should be preparing to throw that day.
Yeah, I'll say I learned that early. Us red haired guys, we just the sun's not our friend sometimes,
Hmm.
so it's a real thing, man. It's so obviously this year, you had a pretty good season as far as your numbers went, and I know you had a very like limited sample size in 23, and obviously it was in the complex league, but you definitely turned things around a little bit. You had a little more success this year than what you did in the complex league. Why do you think that was? Like, do you think you learned from some of the mistakes you made, like in 23, and just kind of getting ready, and then this year you kind of like put all that together and had yourself a season?
I think it was a little bit to do with like overall body health along with developing myself as a pitcher. Because last year in 23, my arm wasn't feeling the greatest. I was dealing with an injury in spring training, and then the rest of that year was kind of like let's pitch the rest of the season healthy and go from there. And then this year in spring training, I kind of realized my arm feels great, everything feels great. So then from there on, it was take each week to get better and develop each pitch and kind of learn to pitch rather than just throw my fastball down the middle and all that. So I learned like how to attack hitters, how to locate in certain counts and all that stuff to learn how to like truly be a pitcher rather than just a thrower.
it seems like as well the Mariners have a little bit of faith in you. Obviously, they signed you for an above slot bonus whenever you got drafted. And what did that kind of give? Did that give you like any kind of confidence, or just like, okay, like these guys believe in me and they know that I can go out and do this? Like, what does that do for your mental, I guess, as you're pitching in the Mariner system?
Yeah, so along with like them doing that, I've been invited to all the camps and all that, which shows that they have faith in me and like they have confidence. So it kind of like puts a drive in me to get my stuff done, overwork more than I think I should, and just like grind because I know that they put their faith in me. So now it's my job to show that they should have done that and it's going to pay off because my goal is obviously to make it to the big. So the way I do that is if I work hard and if they have advice for me, follow it and do it to the best of my ability.
And so obviously after a season like you just had, you had a pretty successful year. Did they give you any particular goals to work? I know right now is like the dead period and everything, like you can't really hear from the guys, but obviously going into this off season, did they kind of talk to you about what they wanted to see out of you for next year? Or like, did you have any specific goals from the team that they wanted you to hit?
Yeah, at the end of the season, they give us like goals from where they think our weak suits are and what we're strong at. And for me, it was just kind of keep on developing my pitches because I have two different fastballs. So they want me to keep differentiating those and make them stand out more from each other. And then along with that, the two sliders, they do the same thing. They want me to make sure that they get as far apart as possible while making them each as good as they can be. And along with that, just making sure I get myself prepared for the next season because the spring training comes quick, and if you're not prepared in January, February, March, it really shows. So making sure that I'm getting my stuff done now and following those goals. And I follow their throwing plan and their lifting plan as well. So I'm going to make sure that I do all that and follow what they recommend for me to do so I can be the best pitcher next year.
Yeah, something always sticks out to me as well. Like when talking to guys throughout other systems, like I've had guys on from the Red Sox system, Minnesota, a few other systems this offseason, and it always seems like the pitching development has a general philosophies that they like to follow, and certain pitches they want to add to everybody's arsenal that's in the system. Did Seattle come to you after you signed, and did they give you like any specific pitches they wanted you to throw or anything? Like, did they tweak the arsenal at all?
I would say, yeah. When I was in high school, I kind of threw, so I threw a two seam or a four seam with the two seam grip. And I don't really know what my slider was. I wasn't big into like metrics and all that then. But then last year, when I was coming back from the injury and kind of getting myself like ramped up and all that, we added in both fastballs with two separate grips that move completely different. And along with that, two sliders. Or last year was more of like a curveball and a gyro. And then this year, I kind of figured out how to differentiate that into a sweeper and a gyro.
Okay, I'm hearing sweeper a lot these days. I feel like guys all over the league. I know the Red Sox system is teaching that to every single one of their draft picks,
Yeah.
and I know the Yankees are as well. But you said you weren't a very big like data and maybe analytics guy, and I know it's new for a lot of guys that are jumping in, especially like for guys that didn't go to like a big college program or anything like that. How is that still an adjustment period for you, just kind of like seeing some of these numbers and they're giving you all this information obviously that MLB teams have access to, and you're just kind of like, I don't know what some of this stuff is still?
I would say last year was kind of like that. This year, I spent a lot of time watching everybody's bullpens because we had bullpens every single day in affiliate ball, and I would sit there and I'd watch all the guys, and I'd sit with our pitching coach and kind of learn from the other guys, along with like asking questions when I'm pitching myself. Because my big struggle this year was making the sweeper big right to left movement. I was struggling on making it big. So then I talked to other guys who have the pitch that I want, and I talked to them about their grips. I talked about what our pitching coach was seeing and all that. And I feel like it kind of gave me like a knowledge of what the numbers actually mean to then apply it to myself and help me become better with my pitches as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting too, because it's like, some guys obviously, they come out of SEC programs or ACC, and they've been getting all this information for the last like 2-3 years, and then some guys, coming out of high school, it's so different because it's like some high school, some of you guys going to high schools that, I mean, my high school was like 1,200 kids. It was tiny. Like, my high school definitely didn't have access to things like that. And I'm always curious to see like what your level of knowledge was of it before you got there. So I do want to ask you about something here in 24. I saw you threw an immaculate inning, and I had to ask about it because it doesn't happen to everybody. When did you realize that was on the table, that inning?
It was when I struck out the second guy. I kind of like in the back of my head, I'm like, that's 6 pitches, 6 strikes, 2 strikeouts. And I was like, my one goal is just throw 3 strikes to this next guy. If I strike him out, really cool. If I don't, I better throw 3 strikes with it. So I kind of went a little risky too with the last batter. That was when I was kind of still getting the feel for like my changeup and slider. And I started the lefty off the batter with a changeup, which could have very well been a ball. And I had a lot of trust in it. So I threw it right down the middle. When slider right after that, which is another one that could have not worked out in my favor. So my one goal was just throw it for a strike. Did that. And then after that, I knew if I threw a fastball, he was missing it. We played that team like 4 times already that year, and I knew the hitter very well. So just threw a fastball. It felt
That's
amazing.
always something I'm like, I always ask is, you guys play the same teams like pretty consistently throughout the year, and it's like that at every level up through AAA. And it's is that like an advantage or is it a disadvantage? Because you might know what the pitcher does, but he also knows you pretty well for seeing you a couple times like throughout the year, like each game. So who do you think has a better advantage on that?
I would say it's pretty equal. I don't exactly know how like hitting reports go for a starting pitcher, but I know I go in each week to a start, and I know what this guy did his last 3 weeks, what pitches he was hitting, how I should attack him, and we go in with the game plan every single game on how I'm going to go and face all 9 hitters. So I know that we have that, and I'm pretty sure they have something pretty similar, but I'm I have the much easier side of the job. I just have to throw strikes. They have to hit it. It's a lot harder to do that. So I'd say I'm at an advantage with it.
Okay. And I'm assuming, was that your first ever immaculate inning you've ever thrown? Like
Yeah,
even in high school or anything?
I don't think I threw one in high school. I'm
Okay.
not 100% sure, but I don't think I did.
How, this is going to be a weird question, but like, how hard was it? Like, how hard was it? Do you think I don't even know how to word it. It's like, do you think you'll ever be able to have that ever again in your career? Like, that's like something I feel like that only happens like a select few times throughout a season in major and minor league. So like, you think that was it for you? Like that was the only one you'll ever have?
I hope not. It'd be really cool to have another one, but it is hard because I got to pray that I strike 3 guys out. Like when you get to 2 strikes, batters, they change their approach. Their goal is to not strike out, and to do it 3 times in a row on 3 pitches it's pretty tough, especially with like you got to play the chance of the umpire and all that stuff. So it's pretty hard. But we almost had one happen in playoffs too. One of our pitchers had it would have been an 8 pitch immaculate inning because he had a pitch clock violation and he struck out 2 guys and then the third guy first pitch put one in play. But that would have been, I think, more impressive if that happened. But I do think that it might happen again. You never know. It's baseball. Anything can happen. It'd be really cool if it did. But yeah,
Probably would have been the first ever 8 pitch immaculate inning. 'Cause obviously
yeah,
the pitch clock being so new, but yeah, that would have been crazy. All right, I'm switching gears here, going to life before the pros. Just kind of get to know you a little bit off the field. Some things that you probably just can't Google your name and be able to find out, like some of the stuff from this year. But I like to start this off with who got you into baseball?
I would say my mom. She was a college softball player, so ever since I could basically play sports, she was always having me play baseball. So definitely my mom.
And did you have any siblings growing up?
Yeah, I have an older brother.
Okay. And was he also a baseball player and or any other play any sports?
Not really. He was more the smart kid, so he went to college for engineering. So he had
Okay.
that. He wasn't a big athlete.
Okay. Well, he got the brain, so I mean it's
Yeah.
only fair, right?
Hmm.
You got the
Exactly.
arm, he got the brain.
Hmm.
So did you play any other sports growing up?
I played basketball all through middle school and first year of high school, and I had like 1 year of football mixed in there when I was younger.
Okay. Do you miss any of the other sports?
I miss basketball. Basketball was fun, satisfying. I was a good shooter, so it's always satisfying when you make a 3-pointer. But I'd say I don't really miss all the running in it.
That's fair. Yeah, you don't have to do too much running, I guess, to the mound and
Mhm.
back, I guess. But I guess maybe that's why you chose pitcher. But that is my question, though. Have you always been a pitcher?
No, so up until my junior year, I was an outfielder as well. I wasn't the greatest hitter, but I mean, I was good for like travel teams. I could hit like two upper 200 somewhere around there, but I was a skinny kid, so I didn't have much power. And then our junior year, I had committed to Wichita State for baseball, and I kind of just knew like I have guys on my travel team who are going to want to get seen and all that. So if I'm taking their reps in the outfield, what good does that do? And their reps with the bat. So unless they like needed me to pitch, I was kind of just PO that whole year, and that's where it
Okay.
like truly started, where I was just a pitcher.
And so you said you were committed to Wichita State going into the draft. How hard was that to kind of forego that decision and go pro?
Well, me and my agent set up like a number for each team, and the Mariners reached that number, and we made sure that Wichita State knew that, and they were aware of my plan and all that, and it wasn't like a big blind side or anything. And they were super cool about it. They understood. They were grateful for the opportunity that I got given, and I am obviously grateful for it too, and more than happy with the decision I made to be with the Mariners.
All right, so I want to show some love to the hometown there. You obviously grew up in a suburb of Chicago, and I always I always say this to guys that I have on here too, and there's a lot of baseball hotbeds out there. There's the Texas, there's the Georgias, the Floridas, the Californias, but Illinois kind of gets a little slept on, I think, for the baseball scene. I know there's a ton of basketball guys come out of Illinois. Obviously, Chicago's huge for high school basketball, but high school baseball, though, I feel like it gets a little slept on. So, what was it like playing baseball in that area, and I guess the level of competition you had to face?
I'd say it was medium. There's a lot of like big name guys that are kind of scattered all over, but for where I was and who we played, there was usually one or two guys who were above average at hitting and all that or pitching. And then everybody on the team knew how to play. There's obviously like the levels of you could tell like this guy was this level or what, but it was definitely tough too. Like it wasn't like you're going in there expecting to strike everybody out or have perfect games and all that is obviously my goal, but there's guys who just put the ball in play.
Hey man, Illinois, even Southern Illinois deserves a little credit. 'Cause, my high school, I had Tanner Houck right next to me. I had Jake Odorizzi, Jeff Hartley, but I had a ton of guys that were
Hmm.
floating. They're still floating around professional baseball, and that's just Southern Illinois. And there's many, many other names that I'm not naming. But you had a teammate that just so happens to be a top prospect in the Chicago White Sox system. Actually, I think he is number one in their system right now, and Noah Schultz. What was it like getting to see him pitch in high school, and how did you kind of did you take anything from him as you guys were growing up?
So me and him actually had the same pitching coach our beginning high school seasons, and we both learned from the same guy. And I don't know if that's directly why we both were so successful, but he was a great pitching coach. And then uh, I really didn't get to see much of Noah pitching because my freshman year he went up and played with the sophomores, and then we didn't have a sophomore season because of COVID. And
Mm,
then junior year, he had, I think, a shoulder injury, something like that. So he was out most of the year. And then our senior year, he had mono and then got shut down after the second start of the season and then didn't get to pitch until playoffs. So I didn't get to see much of him, but I've seen him pretty much everywhere online at all the showcases and all that. He's very unique. He's one of a kind. It's pretty dang special.
are you a guy that's into the rankings at all?
A little, yeah.
Okay, so obviously with him being number one and yourself, I don't know. It depends on everybody's got their own ranking system. That at the end of the day, they're just numbers until you get there. But you're in the top 30 as well on MLB.com. But how cool is it to kind of see you and even see Noah, rank so high, and obviously compared to some other guys around the league. But how cool is it to see you guys, your guys' names in there and just on those lists and getting recognition?
It's awesome because both from same town, same high school, all that. It's really cool to see someone else that kind of is going through the same thing as me. Obviously, the different levels and all that, but it's really cool to see us both get like recognition for our accomplishments. He had a great season this last year, a lot of accolades from that too, and it's really cool to just see us both get recognized for that and be able to like say we're both from the same town, and it's pretty cool.
All right, I'm gonna go a little more off the field here, get to know you a little more. What do you do in your free time?
Love to golf. It's a work in progress, but I feel like a lot of baseball players love to golf. So
Oh yeah.
I golf and then play video games.
I always ask this question, right? I ask like what people do in their free time. And I always joke afterward because they'll give me their answer. I'll say like, I get two answers every time. I get golf and I get video games. That's all I get.
Mhm.
But it's a real thing, man. Every clubhouse I've ever been in, there's been a set of golf clubs, there's been whatever. But that when did you start golfing? Was it the COVID thing that hit you like it hit me, or was it before that?
Yeah, I would say it was around COVID, maybe the year after. I got like a set of top flight clubs from my dad, and me and my buddies in high school would just go play a course for $30 every weekend, and then kind of just kept it on. Now in spring training last year, me and one of the other Mariners guys went golfing every single day after camp.
Yeah, it's a real thing, man, especially pitchers. I heard something too about this I want to get your input on it as a pitcher. I had a position player on. I had a couple position players actually on not like a week or two ago. And they gave me something that if they can't golf because they think the golf swing will mess with their actual swing. Do you think that's true or false?
I don't think so, but what I see a lot is a lot of guys switch golf. Like they'll flip sides and golf with their non-dominant side. Like I've
Hmm.
had probably three guys with the Mariners that I've known that switch sides and golf just as good with the other side. And then
Okay.
I really don't think it messes with your swing a lot. We had a lot of guys on our team this year go on our off day on Mondays to go golf, and they all hit pretty fine regardless of it. I feel like they're working so much on their swing day to day that golfing one time a week when you can isn't going to affect it that much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if but some guys are just like, oh no, like I'll start baseball swing in the golf club, and then it'll like translate to so it is what it is. But
Yeah.
obviously, being a pitcher, it's a good thing to have. Um, I see you're a guy with some lettuce going on. Have
Hmm.
you always had the long hair, or like when did you kind of start growing that out?
That was COVID. I couldn't get haircuts, so I grew it out, and it kind of stuck. I figured out how to like style it, and then ever since then I've kept it long.
Are you like superstitious with all like whenever you start or anything like that? Do you have like any sort of I've heard some guys have some like hair care routines that they need to have, like, I don't know, they wash it the day they whatever. Like, do you have anything like that?
A little, I wouldn't really call it a superstition. It's more like a cycle. Like I would make sure the day before I start that I wash it a certain way, and I would kind of just go on a cycle of when I pitched. I wouldn't really call it a superstition though. I'm not a
Okay.
very superstitious guy.
Okay. I hear some weird stuff, man. I hear some weird superstitions out there. I've seen it and I'm
Yeah,
just like, I don't know about that one. That one's tough, but all right. So if you weren't playing professional baseball right now, what would you be doing?
that's a tough one. I'm just say golf. Wouldn't be the best at it, but that's all I can really think of. Not a big school guy or anything like that, so probably golf.
So if you did go to school, what do you think you would have majored in?
It would have been something in business. And the couple classes I took in high school on that, it was what interested me the most. So some with business, financial, something like that.
Okay. I'm all over the place here, so you gotta stay with me here. But obviously growing up in the Chicago area, you got some sports teams over in Chicago that would have some pretty diehard fans, which I totally love. That Bears fans can be as bad as they are, and they're still going to love their team and invite the Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox, whoever you support. They'll you guys ride or die out there. Who were some of your favorite athletes growing up in Chicago?
Michael Jordan. I didn't get to watch a lot of the young Bears. Nobody really from there, but Paul Konerko, that was a big one. And then when I got into high school, Lucas Giolito kind of had his like breakout seasons, and that's kind of who I like looked up to when I was like in the first few years of high school and like realizing what pitching and all that is.
Is it I guess is it kind of cool that now you're a professional baseball player and Lucas Giolito is still pitching in the professionals? Like, how cool is that to kind of be like, okay, like, obviously you guys aren't on the same levels or anything like that, but just the fact that you are in the big league or in the professionals at the same time he is.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's like even cooler to realize like I used to stand on the field and like watch bullpens, and like I remember standing behind Lucas Giolito and watching him warm up for a game. And then now there's kids doing that for me at our games and all that. And it's really cool, like a full circle moment kind of.
Gosh, you also gave me Paul Konerko. I was gonna ask you about the White Sox World Series. I just looked at your when you were born, so I don't think you probably remember when they won the World Series. I think you were 2.
I think I was actually in a hotel in Chicago because my parents were at one of the games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you were like 2 or 3, I think.
I was really young.
Yeah, so you probably don't remember that, but how was it when the Cubs won? How was Chicago
Don't like
then?
the Cubs.
So tough for you.
Really hate the Cubs.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Well, I got a Mount Rushmore question for you here, and it's something near and dear to me. I'm a big restaurant guy, big food guy. I mean, a lot of people are food people, but I need you to give me a Mount Rushmore. So your top 4 of restaurant chains.
Okay, so number 1 for me would be Cane's. Love cane sauce, so that's got to be number 1. I'll do Chipotle number 2. Then I'll do Chick-fil-A 3 and Culver's 4.
Man, I'm so happy you showed some Culver's love there. I mean, that's just a Midwest delicacy, and a lot of people don't understand it. Like if people in the Northeast are listening to this, or the Pacific Northwest or whatever, it's like they just don't know. They don't know what Culver's is, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, bonus little add-on to the Mount Rushmore. Can you give me? You gave me all fast food places. Can you give me your top sit-down chain restaurant?
I would say Texas Roadhouse.
Oh man, that's exactly what I was looking for.
Love a good steak.
Oh, dude, I just got married like a month or 2 ago, and me and my wife will still go to like Texas Roadhouse and just be like, let's just go eat some rolls and do some. I don't know, man. It's just so good.
Yeah.
All right. I have a little thing to end us on here. It's called this or that. So I'm going to give you 2 things, and you got to pick between the 2. Don't think about it too hard. But if you give me an answer that might be in the minority, I might ask you to defend your answer here. So nothing too crazy, but we're going to start you off with a Chicago-based question here. I need you to choose between these 2. Which one you would rather have? Would you rather have a Chicago-style dog, or would you rather have Chicago-style pizza?
Chicago-style pizza.
Okay. And can I ask the go-to place for you for Chicago-style pizza?
We would always go to Connie's.
Okay. I just had Lou Malnati's 2 months ago, or about a month ago, for the first time. It was fantastic. The butter crust, all right, chef's kiss, man.
Very good.
Summertime or fall time?
I like fall.
Okay. I think it's all depending on the area.
Yeah.
Sunflower seeds or bubble gum?
Sunflower seeds.
Good man. This one I've gotten some weird answers for that I wasn't expecting. So would you rather pitch in a day game or a night game?
Night game.
So why is that?
Maybe it's just the bad experiences, but this last year it was a 110 every day game. I would
Okay.
much take a night game over that.
Okay. All right. Bigger fan of hockey or football?
Football,
Okay. Basketball or football?
football.
Okay. Are you Bears guy?
Yeah, I'm not like a super diehard Bears guy. It's the team I root for, but I love football for fantasy football. Kind of just
I
gives
was
me
gonna
like
that's
a
gonna be
reason to
my
watch.
question. I was gonna ask you, Bears fan or fantasy football fan?
Yeah, definitely fantasy football.
Okay, fair enough. Um, I don't know if you've had experience doing both, and I know you've started every game in your professional career, but did you ever come out of the bullpen in high school or anything? Did you ever relieve at all?
Yeah, so our junior year, Noah would pitch game one on Mondays, and then we would pitch again or we play again Tuesday and Thursday. So I would come in and close Mondays and start on Thursdays.
Okay, so this question is going to be, which one do you like best, starting or closing?
I would say starting. I don't have much experience of closing like at the high level like this. I'm sure it's a lot more like adrenaline and all that, but like starting it just gets you going. Like that whole day before I start, I'm amped up. I'm ready to go. I'm like so excited for it.
Okay, and I have a question here. So you obviously live in Florida now, and you've experienced a little bit of the Florida heat. So which one would you prefer, Florida heat or Arizona heat?
Arizona, 100%.
Okay, I've heard it's a dry heat, but it's still hot, man. But Florida though, it's the humid hot. So yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point. Okay, it's fair enough. Would you rather have a cheeseburger or a chicken sandy?
I do a cheeseburger.
Okay, good man. Last question here. Would you rather end an inning on a strikeout or get an ending inning double play?
I would say a strikeout.
Why is that?
Double play would be nice, but that means that I'm kind of like relying on the two outs with a runner on, which can't always play for that. You end it with a strikeout, you know, you're getting that out. You have two outs. Your one goal is to get that guy out.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard a little bit of both because like some guys are just like that means double play means I got in some trouble and then just throwing that one pitch and just getting out of trouble or but I like the strikeout too. I think the strikeout's more fun. I feel like you can kind of get all hyped up and get out of there. But
Yeah.
okay, last question for you, and we'll let you slide here. Um, I like speaking things into existence. So I'm not sure if you're like that, or if you're a goals guy, or however you are. But let's say we're at the off season in 2025. So you look back at your 2025 season. Can you give me like one or two things that you would like to speak into existence to accomplish for next season?
Yeah, I want to move up levels and pitch at a higher level next year. And I want to get better as a pitcher, not in stat wise. I want to improve my pitches in any aspect I can and just overall become better that way.
All right, Ashton. I appreciate it all the time, and obviously, definitely going to be looking out for you once spring training comes around, and hope you're off to a good start in 2025. And yeah, but like I said, I appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.